Hi, folks. I just read a news article. It was brought to my attention by a family member. And CNN, a reporter, I don't know who it was because I didn't care to look who the author was, but CNN commented that they saw body camera footage from police officers and interviewed them about me specifically and what I'm accused of at the Capitol. I found something interesting. CNN got to see body cam footage from the officers January 6th before me. My attorney was just given discovery. I haven't seen any of it. Kind of reminds me of when they were tipped off ahead of time that the SWAT team was going to be at Roger Stone's house. Why does it seem that CNN, or why is it that CNN seems to have more privileges than American citizens? That they have an in with the justice system or law enforcement? I'm just spitballing here, but it just seems a little weird that they get to see stuff before I do. Specifically, I'm going to speak about myself. Shouldn't the accused have the right to see the evidence before it's, publicized, or maybe not even publicized, but given to them a news agency in secret, behind the scenes? Just saying. Seems like I should have the right to see it. Or at least get to see it around the same time they do. Because this article was put out months ago. Months. But I still haven't seen anything. I haven't had a chance to defend myself. Haven't had a chance to speak out against the accusations that are made against me in a public forum, such as a national news agency, article on websites. So here I stand, unable to speak about what I'm being accused of, to defend myself, at least in the court of the public opinion, against that specific matter. Because I've been speaking out about my innocence from day one. I got nothing to hide, folks. I'm an open book. But if they're doing this to me, then they're doing it to everybody else too. Because I'm nobody special. Really. Many of our inmates, January 6th political prisoners, patriots as they are, still have not seen evidence against them. But yet still they sit rotting away in lockup in D.C. and in several other federal prisons across, federal jails, detention centers, whatever you want to label it. They are incarcerated. Still haven't been to trial. CNN called me a danger to society and that I should be locked up. And they were mad, or at least they sounded like it in the wording of their article, that I was awarded bond because I apparently, in their opinion, am a violent, deranged terrorist. Or something of the sort. Let's just say they think that I'm an unsavory character. So, dear CNN, I'm glad to know that you're privileged enough to see evidence in my case before I do. I'm glad to see that you're able to put out your opinion of my character without even talking to me. Not one. Not a question, not an interview, nothing. Crickets. But they seem to know all about me. Why? Because you looked up my resume on Indeed? You looked at my Facebook profile? Guess what? Social media does not define a person. But I guess they don't understand that. Because it doesn't fit their narrative, right? Because then they're going to realize that I'm a pretty laid-back jokester, really. I like to keck with the best of them. And I am staunchly nonviolent. But I'm a patriot, love my country, and I will use my words to voice my God-given right to the freedom of speech. Just like it's my opinion that CNN is garbage. Why? Because I think that they don't know what journalism really is. I think that they wouldn't know true journalism if it bit them in the keister. I think they're just another arm of propaganda for the deep state, leftist opposition that calls themselves truth and the most reliable source. And I think that's a bunch of malarkey. How's that one, Brandon? So, my God-given right to the freedom of speech isn't going to be silenced. Not one bit. Just like the God-given right of the freedom of speech and freedom to assemble is not going to be taken away from those that were there on January 6th. Peaceful protests. Actually peaceful. Not mostly peaceful as cities burned down around the reporters. Kind of funny about how everybody that they slandered are still walking free, like Michael Flynn, God bless him, Roger Stone. He was in jail for what, a whole 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, and then they let him go because they had nothing against him. Russia, Russia, Russia. They're without Trump, they have no ratings. Kind of a self-destructive policy there. Nice business model with a Chinese news network. You know, I kind of got a red flag a long time ago when I noticed that one of their sponsors was Qatar, or as they say, Qatar, because, you know, like that makes a difference. But I thought to myself, as soon as I saw that, why is a foreign government funding our news agency? Just like I now wonder why other medical companies are funding them as well. Seems like they're laying in a lot of different beds. What do I know? This is all just my opinion. And I have the God-given right of freedom of speech. Because until I'm dead, I have the right to my opinion and think what I want. And I think that our J6ers deserve recognition. I do. I definitely think that they don't deserve to be fed rotten food, have their food rations cut. I think that they believe I think they deserve proper representation. I think that they deserve congressional oversight to the facilities in which they reside, illegally, nonetheless, in my opinion. I think they deserve due process. I think they deserve a speedy trial. And I think that CARES Act is just another rag of paper that violates the constitutional rights of American citizens. You ever notice the names of acts are really the opposite of what they are? Because if they cared, they would have built a case and evidence against those who actually did illegal things, like cutting down part of the scaffolding skirting with a sawzall. That guy's not on a list of people that's been arrested. Or like the guy that tried to use pipes against Capitol Police and instigated the crowd to try to get them to use them against Capitol Police as well, that me and other groups of patriots took away from them and handed those pipes over to the Capitol Police, screaming, "No violence, no violence, we don't want this." But yet we were the ones targeted. How many FBI agents have been arrested? Because they were there. They were instigating the crowd. Isn't that right, Ray Epps? Are you a Fed or are you an informant? I think you would know. But again, this is just my opinion. Our J6ers sing the national anthem because they still love this great nation. Will you join us and sing along with us? Submit a video. Use the hashtag #SingForFreedom. Let's spread it all over the place. Because what we really need is truth, real journalism, and a lot of love. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Hey, CNN, I hated your article. I hate everything you do. And I'm glad I'm allowed to have my opinion. Because I really want to tell you to stick it.